Good morning. Hi. I figured out the lives on my phone again. Yay. I hope you all had a good weekend. I had a good weekend. COVID is going crazy out here in Seattle. So we're pretty much hunkering down. But I wanted to talk with you today about manifestation, vision boards, and rocks. Hi to the one person who's watching me live. Who is that? Come say hi. And so I absolutely love and 100% believe in the power of manifestation, okay? And it is not just imagining something and hoping it's gonna happen, right? Like a Hail Mary pass. There's a lot more work that goes into the power of manifestation, okay, in order to have the life that you want. Hi, Jessica. Happy New Year. Also, something fun that I did on Friday was I'm half Ukrainian, so we always celebrate a second Christmas, which essentially has just kind of boiled down to me making a bunch of Ukrainian food, which I absolutely love. So I just ate a ton of pierogies and kibasi and sauerkraut, and I was one happy camper this weekend, and I've been eating leftovers all weekend. So anyway, but in order to manifest and to really create the life that you want and that you dream of, you have to dream it, right? And imagine it. But you also have to plan and you have to take action, okay? And so with manifesting, I always say that like worry is like manifesting the life that you don't want, or manifesting your fear. Because what happens with like just taking worry as an example, there is emotion, really thick or intense or heavy emotion behind that worry, okay? So that is pretty much the key with manifesting. It's like you want to imagine the life that you want, and then you want to really back that up with the feeling behind it. So is it peace? Is it love? Is it joy? You know, I'm not going to say happy, because happiness is it is an emotion and a feeling, but it's something that, you know, people are like, I just want to be happy. And I'm like, well, here's the deal. Everybody just wants to be happy, and happiness is a feeling and an emotion, and it's fleeting, right? Just like sadness, just like anger, just like fear or guilt or shame, right? Like feelings are, I had a professor in undergrad that used to say that feelings are like the weather, and your like emotional affect is like the climate of a region. But like with feeling, it is transient, right? However, whatever you want to manifest, you put the feeling behind it, right? To really kind of hone that in, because we're working essentially in the subconscious mind when it comes to manifesting, right? So a great way for it to seep in, because for those who are new or for those who need a reminder, your subconscious mind, we're in it 90% of the day. There is actually new research out there that we are actually in it more than 90% of the day and of the time. The other 10% of that time, we're in our conscious mind, which is what I am doing right now. Like I am teaching you all right now, so I'm looking at my notes, talking, making sure that Facebook is working, right? Like I'm in my like personality, action-oriented, task mode, logical, linear thinking. That's your conscious mind. That's also known as your ego, which has a lot of traps in it, right? And so we could sit there and be like, you know, whatever, come up with your manifestation. But if we don't have that belief and that feeling behind it, it's, you know, it's going to block you, right? And so when we're in our subconscious, That's where our feelings live. That's where our spirituality lives. That's where our creativity lives. That's where all of our bodily functions live, like our heart racing, beating, or like our hands moving when we talk, or, you know, our brain sending messages to our body. That is all in your subconscious mind. And that's where we want to be when we are manifesting. And again, because we have to put the feeling behind it, that when we have that feeling, we are in our subconscious, okay? And so, you know, I have in my notes, like, genius is 1% inspiration, imagination, the dream, and 99% inspiration. I thought Thomas Edison stated that, and I just looked it up before I got on here, and guess what? It was a woman that actually wrote it or said it. Her name is Kate Sanborn, and she was an academic lecturer from the 1890s, and she was the one that actually came up with that. So go women. I just looked it up. There are like 7 famous quotes. I found it in Forbes, and I could post it here. But the point is, you can have that aspiration or that inspiration or that stroke of genius, but it's what you have to do on that personality, like human level, to actually make that happen. Okay, so this is some couple of tricks of the trade. One is to create a vision board. 1, it's creative. 2, you get inspired. And 3, it sits someplace. Like for me, it's like right over here in my office. And something that I see every day. Another thing that I do, which a lot of people also do, it's not a vision board, but it's like if they want to attract something into their life, or like make a certain amount of money or whatever it is, they put an alert on their phone. And every day that alert goes off and they see it. But what's happening is your subconscious mind is like a sponge. So you don't have to tell it, oh, hey, recognize this. It is taking in everything all of the time. All the beautiful stuff, all the ugly stuff, all the bad stuff, all of it is like, you know, like I'm sitting here talking to you, but my subconscious mind is taking in the colors of the trees in the background and the color of my neighbor's house and the like, whatever, all the things, right? And so when you have these little subconscious reminders, it helps condition your subconscious mind to create the change, okay? And so some people have journals and they have creative vision board journals. But the point is, we want to have these subconscious reminders all over the place, right? So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about in order to manifest the life that you want is to talk about rocks, okay? What are your rocks? So there was this professor somewhere along the way, and he told this to his class, and I thought this was such a great example, right? So if you have a jar and you had to fill it with your life stuff, right? What would your rocks be, right? My rocks are my family, my career, my spiritual practice, exercise. So these are my rocks, all right? So I'm gonna put my rocks into the jar first, okay? Your rocks are your priority. So if you're watching, I would love to hear from you. What are your rocks? Like, are they your family, your pets, you know, the environment, like whatever it is, like drop it below. I want to hear it, even if you're watching on replay. So your rocks are your priority. Then the next thing that you want to fill your jar with is your pebbles. Like, these are the things that are like, your rocks are something like you absolutely cannot live without, right? Like, your pebbles are like things that you love, but you could not do without, but like you could continue to live if you didn't, like, they aren't as much of a priority as your rocks, okay? So what would your pebbles be? Then the last thing is sand. That's the last thing you want to put in to this jar is your sand. Your sand is pretty much all of your things that really aren't that important, right? So ask yourself, like if you had your life jar, is your jar filled with rocks or is it filled with sand, right? Because if you think about like, if you filled your jar with sand, you're not going to have any room for your rocks or even your pebbles, right? And so, you know, this analogy is all about prioritizing yourself and your life, okay? And here's the deal, like if you are if you're full of sand, like essentially, like you have to learn how to say no, and you have to learn how to set boundaries, right? And I, you know, like right now I have not right now, like I have a good friend and she is in charge of her school auction at the school that my kids went to. She has nobody helping her right now. And I'm like, dude, this, like I was on this, you need a committee. You need like at least 10 other people helping you out. And I'm just like, I love you if you're watching this right now, and you've heard me say this to you, you need to speak up. You need to set some boundaries. You have to say like, hey, this auction ain't happening if I don't have help. Like enlist people, right? The principal, all the things. But here's the deal. It's like you have to learn how to say no, and you have to learn how to speak up, right? So that you're not like, cause she right now is filling her jar with sand because she's trying to do everything, right? And so you want to delegate, you want to learn how to say no, you want to learn how to set boundaries so that you can fill your jar with what your priorities are. Okay, all this talk of sand and rocks just wants to make me like lay on the beach because it's cold and rainy here in Seattle. And so, you know, the bottom line is like when you're reprioritizing your life, and, you know, and a lot of times people do this for the new year, like it could be overwhelming, right? And then you're like trying to like reprioritize everything, or you're trying to make all these changes. But I am a firm believer in baby steps. You know, it's like when you're sick, take a rest, right? And lay in bed and watch crap television until you feel better and sleep, right? Or read or do whatever, but just like lay, because so many people are like constantly doing stuff, and then they're like, why am I not getting better? Or they're like, I want to, you know, lose 50 pounds and marry a guy in 6 months and find a new job in 3. Like those are all major life changes. And what happens is like people will start, and then within like 2 or 3 weeks, they give up because that change is too big and it gets overwhelming. And then when that happens, your nervous system goes into shock, right? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and shuts down and says, fuck this, I don't want to do this. Like this is way too much. And so the key to changing your life also is to take baby steps. Just little itty bitty baby steps. That's it. So we want to get your manifestation, and you want to have it seep into your subconscious, and then you just take little itty bitty baby steps to get there. That is all today, my friends. I hope you have a wonderful week. I will be back here live next Monday. Even though it's a holiday, I will most likely be here because we're not going anywhere. Drop what your rocks are below. I would love to hear. Okay. Mwah. And also what you could say no to. That I also really want to hear. Okay. Bye.